Greetings. Today is your lucky day. You get 2 lessons for the price of 1. First, we're going to look at fonts, which I know we've talked about before, but it's been a while and I want to review it, but then also show you a way to add some fancier fonts. So I have a paragraph element and it just says hello world. And then up here in my styles, I have added a rule for the paragraph and I've added Times New Roman and then sans serif. So just reviewing what that means, if you have forgotten, I'm choosing a specific font family, but if that font family isn't installed on the user's device, then it will not show up. So then what I'm telling it to do is, well, if they don't have Times New Roman, then just show the default sans serif. And actually, since Times New Roman is a serif, I should have had that set to the default serif. And just reviewing that, if you don't remember what the serifs are these little tick marks. So like on the H, those little tick marks at the tops and bottoms, and on the L, etc. Those are serifs. So Times New Roman is a serif font. If I wanted to do a sans serif, that would be a font like Arial. And then I could change this back to sans serif. So now you can see those little tick marks are gone. So that's what we had talked about before. But what if I wanted to do a fancy font that isn't going to be on most people's computers, and I want to make sure it actually shows up? Well, there's a few ways to do that, but here is the easiest way: introducing Google Fonts. Google has a bunch of hosted fonts. As I scroll through here, you can see there are all types of fonts available. There are different categories. So right now, I already have it set to only show display. So there's serifs, there's sans serifs, display, handwriting, monospace. So I had it set only to show the display fonts. And there's one in here that I kind of liked. There it is. So this is the one I want to use. This monotone, almost like monotone, but there's no E there, so I'm not really sure how it's pronounced. But I want to use this one. So if I want to use it, how do I use it on my page? Well, first I'm going to click on it. It's going to show me what each of the characters looks like. And then I'm going to click over here, and actually it already says remove style because I already added it. So let me remove it. There we go. So you're going to see an icon that looks like this. It says select the style. So I'm going to select it. And then up here I have this. It'll probably pop up for you. It didn't pop up for me because I've already been playing around on the site. But if I click this little icon, it's going to expand a little dialog box over here. That's going to show me all the families that I have selected. And then it might show you this by default review. If it does, just click on embed, and it's going to give me the code to embed this in my page. So the first thing I need is this link right here. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to brackets, and I'm going to paste that somewhere up in the head. And if you look at this, this should look familiar. This is how we link to external style sheets. You can see it has the link href equals. It's going to a Google API hosted document, and that has the relationship equals style sheet. So we've done that before. The only difference now is we're linking to an external style sheet from another site. Then I'm going to come back over here and copy this part of it, and then go back to brackets. And now instead of having the font family Arial, I'm going to replace that with font family, this monotone or whatever that is. And it is considered, I guess, a cursive. And let me bring back up my preview of my page. And there we go. So now my hello world has changed and is using this Google hosted font. Okay, so that is the first part of this lesson. So play around with that, see if you find any fonts you like on Google Fonts and make use of those. Second part is also something we've talked about before, and that is borders for our divs, or really any element. So here I have box 1 again from the previous lesson, and I've set its width and height to 300, background color dark blue. But instead of focusing on the borders that we've talked about before, I want to do something that we have not talked about, at least I don't think we did, and that is the border radius. So if I do the border radius and set it to something like, let's say 20 pixels, notice what it did to my square. It has now rounded the corners. The larger this number, say we change that to 50, the more rounded it will be. So if you want to make your divs look a little bit fancier, this is an easy way to do that. Rounded corners are a popular way to make very blocky looking design look a little bit better. What if we wanted to make a circle though? There's no way to add a circle through CSS. We can do it in JavaScript, but there's really no easy way, I guess, in CSS. But is there? We could actually change this to a circle. Any ideas how? All you have to do, look at my width of my box, it's 300. So if I want to round from the middle to middle, that's going to be half of it. So if I set my border radius to 150, there we go. We have a circle. Or another way to do it would be to set it to 50. Whoops, I meant to hit the 0. There we go, 50%. And then if I come in here and change, let's change this to 400 by 400, no matter what size my circle or what size my box is, it's going to turn it into a circle because the radius is now 50%. So that's just a little trick for creating circles on your pages in CSS. So there you go. There's the 2 lessons of the day.